Ladies and gentlemen, it is my time to announce that I am officially dying.
Oh, just fucking kill yourself.
We last left off putting the lanky bastard in his place, had a nice wank over the boss fight music that has the power to bring world peace. I'd say my overall favourite thing about Sonic Frontiers is just seeing everyone's reaction to the first boss fight music.
Hold on, I'm about to cry. Are you serious right now? Yeah, I can't play this job.
But now, it is time for Ares Island, and I feel confident in saying that this is the best island out of the lot, if it wasn't for every guardian and enemy pissing me off to no end, specifically on this island. Like, can this fucking umbrella cunt stop grabbing my camera? I've killed 100 of these fucking things, but they don't stop spawning.
Why are you mad?
Sonic gets shot down from his super form, and to make this not sound like bullshit, they throw in a little line that gets people to shut the fuck up and not ask questions like, well, how can Super Sonic hold off Giganto's laser, but one shot out of the sky and he dies? Simple, just say these lasers are as powerful as the Eclipse cannon on a later island, and you're all sorted. It's like that scene in Infinity War where Strange says they only win 1 out of 14 million, which means any time Operation Ant-Man going up the bum was tried, it always would have failed, so you can shut the fuck up about it. From here, the gameplay loop is simple and identical to Chronos. Find Sonic's friend, find the keys in cyberspace, find memory tokens to progress, and beat the Titan. In terms of the island, it's bigger and better than Chronos, and almost all platforming here is really fun. The main character of this island is Knuckles, and I don't know why Sonic pulls a rape face when he saves him, but if you two want to shag, just say it. The year is 2022, and people who wouldn't be interested in this relationship would probably be considered normal in my eyes, because if you think otherwise, you're clearly into animal porn, and probably need help. Finding the first Chaos Emerald on this and the next island is what triggers the Titan to appear, and this time it's like a giant flying snake thing called Wyvern. And I'll be honest, I was really worried with how they marketed the shit out of Giganto, solely because I thought it meant all Titans would be the same or similar to him, so I was happy to see this one being different in every way. Although this time, instead of being yeeted, the bastard starts unloading every missile in the universe. Okay, look, great, that's enough. Okay, you can calm down. Okay, just calm the fuck down! Also, the end of this leads to one of my favorite moments in the game.
You cannot run forever. Final warning. Leave.
That was a warning?
Bitch!
This shit still makes me laugh, and I don't even know why. I noticed I never talked much about Sonic's controls, so I'll go over it now. In the open world, you can boost with the right trigger or the bumper, a much more comfortable controller setup that I hope stays like that forever. Although Sonic's boost in this game is more like a run button, which is definitely needed. Imagine Generations or Unleashed ground control in the open world when you want to make small movements, it just wouldn't work. I know there isn't a lot of times to be at walking pace, but it's useful that you can be, but there's no adventure style momentum. You can't stay at constant speed unless you're boosting. It's the only way to go fast, basically, and getting max rings obviously gives you the power boost, which is a powerful boost and has a trail to match the one from the movie Sonic. Sonic can also bounce while holding the stomp button in the air, although it's not as useful as it used to be, solely because it's just really fucking slow. You do gain a bit of height from it, but it's not as useless as the drop dash, in 3D at least. For 2D platforming, the drop dash is nice to have, especially when you're going downhill, because for some reason in 2D, the drop dash is actually fucking fast. But without classic Sonic's momentum-based physics, it just can't reach its full potential. And in 3D, you gain barely any speed. On rails, in this game, Sonic's physics are a little different, and jumping at a speed can get you some distance, so it would have been nice if the drop dash was something similar to make it worth having. It's also completely useless for combat, even though you can hit enemies with it, but you can barely fucking turn, so what's the point of trying to attack enemies? Rolling downhill does build speed, but you can't keep it, and it's pointless because it's not as fast as when you're boosting. Would have been cooler if you could boost while rolling. I think that would have been more fun and interesting. Quick stepping is honestly useless with the amount of dash panels that put you on the right course in this game, and even then, Sonic's handling in the open zone is perfect, so you'll have no trouble moving freely. It's just cyberspace that feels shit for turning, which is a shame, because a lot of cyberspace stages actually have some wide open lanes in 3D that would have been fun to have some free turning in it, but it just feels so limited, like that highway stage that gave everyone a boner when they saw the gameplay released long before any new trailers came out. Sonic's lightspeed dash is an absolute win here though, mapping it to the left stick because the side loop takes up the top face button on the controller. I say it's a win because you can lightspeed dash any ring trail, including the rings you drop after getting hit. Also, if you get hit, sometimes you can air boost before hitting the ground to stop yourself from losing rings, which is really fucking useful. And then wall running can sometimes get on my nerves, mainly because when you're moving at weird angles. I think some fine-tuning will make that a lot more fun, but it works most of the time, so it's not a massive issue. Also, I just have to say, the cyberspace stages are surprisingly a lot more fun than I ever would have imagined. It helps that some of these stealing old stage layouts from some of the best stages in the past, like City Escape, again, Radical Highway, walkway and sky rails. It's the aesthetic that's pissing me off here, though. You could have made these stages feel a lot more special if you just used a bigger variety of level aesthetics. Everyone is sick and tired of seeing Green Hill and Chemical Plant and reused assets in general, but you'll get a bit of a pass if you reuse old stage aesthetics that haven't been done before, like Grand Metropolis from Heroes or Ice Cap. Maybe even Wave Ocean. Hell, I'd have a smile on my face more if a stage looked like Labyrinth Zone. Although that may not be completely acceptable for some people, it's one thing to reuse assets, but it's more of an issue when it's the same reused assets that you've already reused before. But some of these stages are great fun when going for speedruns. Nothing about what made Forces stages boring as shit are here. No long stretches of nothing but boosting straight forward. The boost doesn't even do damage here, so that actually helps a lot to the player having more input. No air boost that'll break already short levels in half. Platforming here can be tricky and requires skillful and precise movements, and just like that, you have created a game. I'd say their best stages are the ones that are reused from the adventure games, plus the fact that cyberspace is a collection of floating platforms in the sky that can allow for some insane shortcuts. I've seen some really impressive speedrun strats, and I'm sure there will be more. Of course, you can disagree entirely if you hate all of cyberspace just for being unoriginal, and that's okay. I don't think the devs should be able to get away with it anymore. If they do it again, it's going to be really hard to want to be excited for the next game, but I can say with full chest, there is probably only one cyberspace stage in the game that is complete shit, which is the drifting stage. We all know which one I'm talking about if you've beaten the game. This one is complete arse. It's supposed to be remade from the Savannah Citadel drifting stage from Unleashed, but the drifting in this game is fucking awful because it's not needed. They only put it in this one stage, and just like that, this stage is complete arse. But you can jump over the dash panels to avoid drifting, so, you know what, there's already a solution there. But yeah, playing this one is a nightmare and just genuinely makes me ill, and wait a second. Get the fucking gameplay out of here. Even some S-rank times being so ridiculously tight makes me want to keep playing the shit out of some of these stages. And it's worth trying to get the S-rank, not only because you get a reward that is genuinely needed to progress the game, but seeing the S-rank is just fucking satisfying and always has been. We all know the infamous stage 1-2 to get 55 seconds or less for the S-rank. Sounds simple, and this stage itself is very basic, and I'm pretty sure it's based off Windmill Isle Act 2 from Sonic Unleashed, but getting just under 55 seconds is so much harder than it looks. You have to have a perfect run and hit some specific shortcuts just to scrape an S rank, which is such a good ranking system, by the way. In Generations, you could replay stages just for the sake of wanting to explore and find other routes because they had a shitload of different ways to tackle the stages. But so long as you never die, you get an S almost every time, which is just fucking boring. It's why I prefer Unleashed over Generations. The ranking system in Unleashed is so much better because you have to master the stage to get the S rank. It makes me want to replay Unleashed stages way more than Generation. Like in Generation, it's just too easy. So this stands out to me as making cyberspace way more enjoyable than it has any right to be. All in all, I'm just glad cyberspace isn't complete shit. I knew it would have been the worst part about this game, and it still is, but the word worst doesn't mean it's horrible. It just means that compared to the open world, it still has a lot of issues that, if are fixed, would make it even better, but it's just not as fun as the open world. Now on to the combat. It's flashy and automated, not better than the Werehog in my opinion, but not complete shit. Some moves make absolutely no sense for Sonic to be able to do, like shooting lasers out of his fucking feet, which on the first island is probably the only move you'll ever use because it's OP as fuck. The fact that it's infinite until you touch the ground is so broken and never should have been that way. The Grand Slam is probably the most satisfying attack of all because it's fast, looks cool, and is exactly the type of move Sonic could do. Wild Rush is also kind of OP, spamming that on the bosses is the way to go for killing them as quickly as possible. There's also 3 moves that are only unlocked by progressing the story, and the rest cost a shitload of skill points, which is why on Chronos you'll probably only have Sonic Boom unlocked, especially if you're trying to speedrun the game. The combat is boring if you do nothing but spam the same attack, but if you want to get yourself excited from fighting enemies, then chain different combos to make it look cool, and it's pretty fun, especially when you do loads of different attacks. Then unlock Phantom Rush and finish an enemy with it, because again, it's a powerful, cool looking attack that makes sense for Sonic to do. A lot of these are 1 or 2 button activations, a far cry from the Werehog, but it works for high speed satisfying combat depending on who you are. If the animations of the spinning attack bothers you, then it doesn't look as impressive. I mean, for this attack though, they should have just made Sonic into a ball when doing it, because it would look so much better and make more sense instead of him upside down, one leg sticking out, because that just looks fucked. Because of all these flashy attacks, it means the Titan bosses just look even cooler if you're chaining different moves. Some games can only be fun if you choose to make them fun, and I'd say that's the case with the combat. The quick side loop is also really satisfying to launch enemies with, and the spin slash is sick but a bit too slow. The parry is a bit broken though. Usually parrying means pressing it at an exact moment when an enemy is about to attack, which I thought is how it worked in this game, considering you get like a little spider sense when an enemy is about to attack for Sonic. And on the first 3 islands, I kept trying to fucking press it at precise moments to get the parry to work, and half the time it just didn't, and I was getting really fucking annoyed because I was so confused. That's when I realized, just hold the button and wait for an enemy to attack and it's a piece of piss. It helps make combat look cooler, but also makes it too fucking easy. And dying from enemies is only hard when it comes to the caterpillar on the last island, because it's the only one where you can't instantly pick up rings after taking a hit. Also, the Strider Guardian, right? I just want to say this one pisses me off solely because if you don't kill it after like your first attack on it, these fucking fireballs have a mind of their own. They will jump from rail to rail to try and hit you, but there's no iframes in this game, meaning if you take a hit, you can take another one instantly and die. Even though you drop barely any rings from taking a hit, you lose a shitload from certain enemies. So yeah, fuck the Strider, man. But that covers almost all of Sonic's abilities in the game. Ares Island has Knuckles go through an arc of wanting to live more of a life like Sonic, of just freedom to do whatever he wants, even though that's basically all he's ever done since Sonic Adventure 2, so I don't know what the fuck the point of it is. But I love the brotherly rival slash love relationship they have. The friendship here feels so natural. Doesn't feel scripted. It genuinely feels like 2 best friends having a talk and a good laugh. I love that. But you can progress to the island the same as Chronos. The cyberspace stages are just better in this island. And eventually you'll get to the second Titan of the game. This time, to get the emerald on its head, you have to run on a trail like it's the squid, and once again, the epic music kicks in and it's time to fuck this thing up. For this boss, you have to parry missiles back into it to catch up to it, which honestly is kind of difficult because he shoots a barrage, but you have to focus on the one that is coming at you. And I say it's difficult. It's only difficult when I was being my dumbass and trying to one-button parry everything instead of just holding it, because if you do hold it, a missile will just find you, and then bam, you can counter it. If you don't want to parry the missiles, you can just dodge them and then just be patient, but that's fucking boring. And then you have to parry one of its swipes. Again, this made me struggle because I didn't know you could just hold the parry button. It honestly just pisses me off the fact that the game never gave me a training simulation of the parry where you could just fucking hold it. I mean, I guess I could have gone through all of them, but why the fuck would I do that? But parrying allows you to do damage, and after a bit, he'll swipe at you with his tail, which if you parry that and then press the button prompt, Sonic will grab its tail and throw the bastard. To say I don't feel like a god doing that would be the biggest load of bullshit ever. Eventually, it's finished with an epic looking quick time event. Again, this boss is outstanding. The music is also just fucking gorgeous, and Sonic Team smashed it here. Finishing this boss reveals another vision of another ancient spewing more bullshit, and on to the 3rd island we go. This part was definitely shorter, yes, but I don't have much time in my life to make all of them at once. But I'll be talking about Chaos Island next time, and until that, leave a like, subscribe, cheers lads, and until the next time, have a good one.